Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page here at Facebook, where I do a daily live stream. And basically, it's a spiritual conversation around the divination cards that I draw in the morning for the group, for the whole community. Well, let's just say everybody, okay? And so, welcome. It is Monday, January 7th, and I'm looking out the French doors and from the Star Nations Academy, and it's been raining. It finally stopped probably about 45 minutes ago or so. Maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe an hour. But it's been raining since last night. And some people are saying, thank goodness it's not snow, because if it was snow, it would be, a lot. But at any rate, it is a quiet, rainy day out there. Yes, it is. And it's mild. Well, actually more than mild. For this time of year, 43 degrees is a tropical breeze because this time of year we don't normally see 43 degrees. Many times it's below zero, and January is actually known for that here in Wisconsin, is that if we're going to have below zero weather, it's going to be in January. And so far, we've been above zero all the time. So who's all here? Amy's here. Hi, Amy. So perfect cards for today. I think so. I do. We're going to get into the meanings of it in the essence and what they delivered for us today. Hey, Julie's here too. Good afternoon, Julie. Good to have you here. And Rob is saying, if it were snow, it would be normal. This is not normal. It's true. No, I can't remember the conversion between how many inches of rain and then it equals how many inches of snow. But I do know that when rain we have more of than is it the opposite? We would have a lot of snow right now if it was raining, if it was snowing rather than raining. Jeez. I was trying to do the conversion in my head. I don't really remember that conversion rate, but I do know that when it rains, if it were snow, it would be a heck of a lot more snow in inches. Yeah. But these kinds of days, Rob is saying we've been above freezing most of the time. Yes, we have. It's these kind of days that weather-wise that you either want to curl up and stay in bed or read a good book. And some people like to bake on these kind of cold, dreary days, and all that's good. Me, what was I doing? I was getting things prepared. I was supposed to have Mom in for lab work this morning early, not non-fasting, but still early for us, right? 8:30 for her is still kind of early. And so we got that moved to 1 o'clock this afternoon. Yay! Because it was just pouring buckets, but the time we would have had to leave this morning. So when we left the house, it was just kind of drizzling. And by the time we got out of the clinic, it had stopped. So that was good. So it's been kind of a busy day, more with family stuff than actual work-wise stuff. So, yeah, let's see. Oh, here you go. Thank you, Stephanie. She has the link in here from Noah and the conversion rate. That's great. See, we're going to learn a little something, right? A little something. See what else I missed. And they believe this is Stephanie. She says, on average, 13 inches of snow equals 1 inch of rain in the U.S., although that ratio can vary from 2 inches for sleet to nearly 50 inches for very dry, powdery snow under certain conditions. Yeah, I knew that it would be a lot more snow than the actual rain if it were snowing. And so that's what people were saying, even starting last night even, Of course, people were out buying salt to salt down the walks and their driveways and that kind of thing, because one of the things that we were concerned about is it dropping below 30 or at 32 or below 32, and we'd have an ice skating rink, right? But it didn't. I think the lowest it got here last night, wee hours of the morning, was like 33 degrees, 34 degrees. So it wasn't quite freezing. Amy Daniel saying hi. Hello, Amy. And hey, Tina's here too. Hey, Tina, good to have you here. Always nice to see you in the chat. Before we start rolling with the information, thanks, Stephanie. Before we get rolling with more information and chatting it up and talking about sharing about the card essence, I'm going to share and like the broadcast, and I would invite you to do the same, only if you want to. This is about getting the word out, right? To be able to share the information for those that might be searching for this kind of information. And so I'm liking and I'm sharing. I'm going to share it to my newsfeed. And just making sure that my friends know that I'm live streaming. And please join. There we go. Yep, there it goes. Oh, I meant to send that to the public. I went to my friends. That's all right. Well, I'll go back and change it after the broadcast. Yeah, I was, oh my goodness. Yesterday, I was working on the magazine. After the broadcast, I went back down to the house and I started working on the broadcast. And I got an email message from a good friend of mine. Not an email, it was a messenger message from a good friend of mine, somebody that, I trust a great deal. And it was a message about something about Facebook and security and having to hold down the button and, to send the message to all your friends kind of thing. And I'm thinking, now it would be like her to tell me that something was up with my account and that I should check it, right? And yeah. Almost everybody that I know got that message yesterday from somebody that they know, right? And so, but what it did for me, the positive stuff that came out of that, what it did for me is I looked at my privacy and security and different things within my Facebook account that I haven't looked at for, gosh, a really long time. And so to go in and tweak a few things, and so even though it was a scam, right? There were some positive things that came out of it. And I got to talk to a couple of friends that we hadn't sent messages or talked in quite a while. And so that was a good thing too. Yeah, Rob was saying that wasn't hacking. That's correct. That's spoofing, but I didn't know that at the time, Rob. So what I did was I just kind of slowed down and I set aside my work on the magazine to take a look at that. And I took a look on, Googled it and realized, oh, okay, that's a new term for me, spoofing. And so, but it did, the suggestions that I read was just to check your account to make sure that certain aspects hadn't been changed, and they hadn't been. And it really was, for me, it was validating, confirming that we talk about boundaries here all the time, right? In Star Nations, is how to set healthy boundaries, and boundaries that from a position of love rather than fear. And so it gave me a chance to look at those things and realize that those boundaries that I placed a long time ago, they're still holding in place, right? And so I just tweaked a couple of things, and it was good to go. So I knew that I hadn't been hacked, but I wanted to share that with everybody on my timeline. That if they got something from me, it was not from me, and it was, a scam, right? a spoof. Yeah. Hey, Andrea's here too. Andrea's saying hello, Andrea. Good to have you here. And Amy is saying, sure glad it's rain here. I know. Like I said, if it was snow, Amy, we would be hip deep for sure. Rob is saying, I've had my fill of freezing rain when I lived in Indiana. Now it's moving northward to Michigan. Yeah. We don't really have a whole lot of freezing rain here in Wisconsin, sometimes in the southern part of the state. But yeah, black ice a lot. black ice. But there's there's something to be said of good old fashioned snowstorms, right? Where it's only snow. It gets kind of dicey when it's rained a little bit, and then it freezes and then it snows on top of it. Yeah, that's not fun. Yep, there we go. Not hacking, spoofing. Rob says, and those copy and paste PMs are just social engineering to create panic. I know. You can see it that it's a fear thing that whoever created those messages are really tapping into, trying to push the buttons, right? The trigger those fear things. And unfortunately, there's some people who it does affect. Good for you, Rob. He says, I accept it and talk to them. Well, good for you. And the motivation of a spoof is to pull a con. Once I see the con, I'll unfriend and report. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It depends on where it comes from, and like I said, so many times people turn into the fear that, oh my God, I've been hacked, and what I did was I said, wait, we don't have all the facts. Let's get some facts here and see what's really here, right? And so I went to Google and I was talking to my spiritual team. I said, so what do I look for? And they were saying, they gave me the phrase, and so I typed that in, and I got some information that, showed that it's not a hack. And this is how you can prove it's not a hack, is if certain things in your account has not been changed. And the thing is that they do encourage you to change your password, even though, and that was a good thing too. I did change my password, but that's a good thing too, because I hadn't changed it in a really long time. So there you have it. You can go into the fear mode, or you can go, okay, there's an opportunity here. What is it? And so mine turned out to be, validation that the boundaries that I set up years ago are still in place and they're working, no problem. And I got to upgrade my password. Yeah. No big deal, right? As long as you didn't click on anything. The other thing that they're kind of fun, those games, that you can play that will tell you, that you have your name if you're a, I don't know, some celestial something or other, right? And so they take it like, the last thing you ate and the first color that you saw or something like that. And they put these things together and they show you. I mean, they're fun. But that's the other thing, is that they also are able to grab your information and put you on a list, your name, to put it on a list. So you start getting, different kinds of email kind of stuff. And so, I don't generally play those games when they're on Facebook. But it also depends on who I get it from too. There's some friends out there who are trusted. All right. I'm just double checking my phone to make sure that all of the comments are coming in. Okay. So what do I want to do here? I think what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the first card, because I've got a couple of things that I wanted to share with you, links. And I think what I'll do is I'll copy those and send them over to Stephanie so that she has them too. And because the first card that came was something that near and dear to my heart, and I wanted to share a little information with you around that. And I'm sending it over to Stephanie right now, so that she has it. Here's the first one. We're going to be talking about the drum, and that's the first card that came. And so there's a couple of links I wanted to make sure that you guys had. And so I'm sending them over to Stephanie, because I wasn't sure if Stephanie was going to be in the live chat today, because she's got family stuff. We all have a little of that going on every once in a while, don't we? And so sometimes, you have to pull away from the work stuff and focus on family. So there we go. All right, she's got the links. All right, so this is the first card that came. Drum. And you guys know how I feel about drums. And one day I'll tell you the full story. We'll have story time. Okay, so on the card it says dream and journey. Dream and journey. And we there is something that about drums that we basically have an affinity for. When I say we, I'm talking about the royal we. Okay, and whether or not you're awake on your spiritual journey or not, generally speaking, when we hear drums of any kind, it piques our interest. We kind of turn and look to see where is it coming from. When we go to concerts, right? Many times the drummers are highlighted. So our connection to drums goes a long way back to our ancestors. And every indigenous people, and all across the world, all across Grandmother Earth, indigenous people from everywhere had some sort of drum. Okay. And even if you have to go back like many, 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 many generations in order to get to that ancestor that had the drums, it's still there. And there's a memory that we have in our blood and in our bones that's connected to the drum. And so whenever we get a card like this, it reminds me of that connection that we all have. And the first sound that we hear is our mother's heart, right? When we're in the womb, so we're hearing that beat. And we all are connected to Grandmother Earth and her heartbeat, her resonance. And then there's also, if you go further out, there's also the heartbeat of the universe that we're all connected to. And for those of you that have studied Mayan spirituality, the galactic butterfly, the Hunanku, it goes past our sun to the central sun, and that the heartbeat of the universe can be found in the Hunanku. And so we're all connected to this primordial sound, right? And so we can start from the very, very close to your own hand drum to growing up dancing to the drum. And so we're connected to it, right? And so I wanted to say that out loud for this reading because it is it's another aspect that brings us together. And there's there's a belief that there's a spirit that resides in all drums, and especially indigenous drums. Okay, not necessarily marching band drums, although you could say that there's also spirit in that. But there's a spirit that resides in every drum. And there's also a belief that every drum has a name, and that the drum will tell you the name if you ask. And sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes some time for you to get that name, but every drum has a spirit and has a name. And if you don't have the drum's name, you can always call the drum grandmother or grandfather. And you can say it in your own language, whether that's English or some other language. So if you're German, yes, you can call them Oma or Opa. In the Potawatomi language, it'd be Misho or Nokmis, In Ho-Chunk, it would be Choka or Gaga. Okay, so you can call your drums grandmother or grandfather. And it can be in either English or your own indigenous language. Yeah. So this card, whenever I get a drum card, no matter what deck I'm using, it always, it goes right to my heart. Makes me smile. I think that when we had the drum card in, was it the Sacred Pathways? Is when I got out one of my drums, and I'm working on that. The sound of the drum sounds so different when it's in when you play it back on the video. It doesn't sound like my drum at all, and so I'm going to try to work on my sound system here. So that when the next time I drum, it'll actually sound like my drum. All right, I'm going to see comments here because I'm not feeling that the comments in the Be Live studio got hung up again. All right. Hey, Ann's here too. Hi, Ann. She's saying good afternoon. And Rob says, I've also found some people actually redo their profile. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I wasn't going to take the time to do that, though. My goodness. Minnie's in the house. Good afternoon, all, she's saying. My sister, Minnie. Good to have you here. Let's see why. Oh, okay. I got it to work. All right, so we got Anne saying hello, and Rob's comment about the profile. And here's Minnie. Hey, Minnie. All right, and Rob is saying you're put on the Mormon Tabernacle Choir mailing list. Yeah, right. All right. Oh, thank you for posting that, Stephanie, the links. I appreciate that. We're going to get to that in a second. And Rob is saying drums are not the only instrument with names. That's true. That's very true. Guitars have names too, don't they? They're kind of like, well, we name a lot of things, don't we? How many people have a name for their car? Their car's name. A lot of people name their boats, right? So yeah, we name a lot of things. But the drums, they literally have a spirit that resides in them, and the spirit is telling you their name. We're not giving it its name. They're telling us their name, which is, I think, there's a difference in that. There's a difference in that. All right. So let's find out what Kyle has to say about the drum. It's about dream and journey. He says, journey inwards to uncover insights and information that will be important for your path. Then follow the guidance. He goes on to say that when a drum card appears in a reading, there's opportunities for you to dream or to bring inner vision and reality. That you are very connected to other worlds at this time. The wisdom and intelligence of the earth and her magic surrounds you. The drum, which echoes the sound of Mother Earth's heartbeat, has cleared the cobwebs and dust from your inner vision. What you have seen in your dreams and inner vision is not imagination, but guidance, particularly if it has been coming to you repeatedly and has the potential to become reality. Dreams come true. Know it and live it. Okay, so what I got from that is that we do know that as we use drums, when it reaches our brain waves, that it can help us to get into a meditative state and also a trance state, right? And so we do love our cars, don't we? Stephanie saying my car is called Gurney Alec. Gurney Alec? Yeah. My car's name is Claire. Claire. I know. Because of the Claires. Because when she talks to me, when she gives me directions and stuff like that. Okay. So the links that we shared with you. And I was going to bring the book up with me. Rats. I was trying to get here on time, and I was going to go downstairs and grab a book to show you guys. There's a book that I read many years ago, and it's by Lynn Redman, and it's called "When the Women Were Drummers." And it is one of my favorite books. Lynn walked on several years ago. I want to say it was like 2010. I'd have to double check, but it hasn't been all that long ago. And her book went out of print, and it was difficult for people to get her book. Once the used bookstores had sold pretty much all of their stock, it went out of print, and you could go like to Amazon to order it, but it was like $50, Oh God. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. For Dune, is that what you mean? From Dune. Oh, from Dune. Oh, yes. Yep. And Minnie's vehicle, Shanti the Second. Yeah, you have to use the Roman numerals, Shanti 2 or something like that, right? Yeah, we do love our cars, don't we, when we name them? And they do have their own personalities. So this book, When Women Were Drummers, I got when, I want to say it was like 2004, early 2000s is when I got that book. And it was early in my journey with embracing the drum. Now, I've always loved the drum, right? I've been a dancer since I was 5, and that was my connection to the drum. In 2002, I made my first drum, and it really stretched me. Oh my gosh. A lot of beliefs, okay, a lot of belief systems got really stretched, and I had to kind of sift through a lot of that belief systems about women and drums and that sort of thing. And when I found this book, actually the book found me, one of those things, right? When it falls off the shelf at the bookstore kind of thing. And it's a really good book to talk when it talks about the anthology of drums and where, like 5,000 years ago, they had uncovered a frame of a drum, and they carbon dated it, and it was like 5,000 years ago or something like that. And it also talks about the history of women drummers and showing in artwork the depictions of women with hand drums, frame drums. And so a lot of that was taken from, like the Greek history and so not necessarily for Native American indigenous history, but it was in Europe and Greece and Italy, Turkey, which was Mesopotamia, those areas, right? And so it was that history, that I'm reading it, and I'm kind of thinking about how this really brings us all together, really, and it put into a good perspective for me about women and drummers, and that there's a possibility that there were women drummers all over the world. It wasn't just in small pockets around the world. And the reason why maybe drumming was removed from the ability of women had to do with, like a power struggle. And so things changed. And when I first read that book, there was still a big controversy in Indian country about Native American women using drums. And, if Creator hadn't brought the drum to me in the way that it was brought to me, and my connection to it, my spiritual connection to it, it would have been, I wouldn't have changed my belief system around it. But I did, and it was the right choice for me. And I, there's consequences to all choices, both positive and negative. And the positive is that it strengthened me spiritually. But I also lost friends, and I lost the connection to relatives, aunts. So it was one of those things that you're sad to see that happen, but on the other hand, I knew it had to happen. And it doesn't mean that I don't hold those relatives in my heart, and that I don't honor them. It's just that we had a differing opinion. And so the drum means a great deal to me. And so I gave you the links to Lynn Redmond's her book, because it is back in print. And just recently in December of 2018, it's back in print. And you can get it at two different places. Barnes and Noble carries it, and at an independent publisher. And so I think it's Echo something, Publishing and Media, something like that. Anyway, the links are there. If you're interested in reading more about the history of women and drummers, it's a fascinating book, and it really opened me up to the possibilities. The other link that I have there for you is that Kyle refers to the drum being used for dream and journey. And we've talked about this before. And I didn't give you the links to good shamanic journey drumming. You can drum for yourself in a shamanic journey, but it's difficult. It's difficult to do that. It can be done. I've recorded my own drumming and then played it back. But hey, we have YouTube now, and we have all kinds of ways to download digital music. And so I have a link there for you. It's Michael Harner, and from his Shamanic Studies Foundation, and it's a single and double drum. So it's got 15 minutes. I think it is 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and an hour time frame on those from YouTube, and that it happens to be the drumming CD that I have, that I use when I do journey work on my own, when I don't have a person drumming. And so I thought that would be something that you might like to at least listen to and see if it resonates with you or not. Yeah, and in fact, when I listened to both, well, almost the entire thing. It's about an hour. I listened to the first 15 minutes, and then sampled the middle, and then I listened to the double drumming, which is my favorite. And I'm thinking, boy, I'm glad I found this, because I'm using this one too. I'm going to download it and save it. So yeah. So if you're interested in doing that, what I can do, let's see, in February, when we do the Academy, the free mini class in the Academy, if you'd like, what I can do is just cover once again just that one piece of how to prepare for journey work, and what do you do after you're done with the journey. If you want to go to the Academy closed group, check the videos. There's a free mini class that I did. I think it was last fall, or maybe it was last summer. There is a video, a recorded live stream, talking about shamanic journey. So you might want to re-listen to that one, or if you haven't listened to it, to listen to it, because it does give you some of the parameters and kind of helps you along a bit. Okay. All right. So the card itself, is basically letting us know, Spirit is letting us know that we have this connection, this spiritual ally called a drum, that can help us in understanding questions that we may have about our spiritual journey here, our earth walk. So when we have decisions to make, when we're trying to understand what are my gifts, we can journey for those, to identify them. Aw. George is sleeping underneath the table, right where my feet are supposed to be. And he just rolled over, and now he's sleeping on his back, and his front paws are up. Ears are back. He's comfortable. He's comfortable. That Georgie. And so we can use the drum. It's an ally. And it can help us get into that in-between state where we have our mental mind is relaxed, right? And I talk about how covering our eyes with a scarf or with a blindfold kind of helps us put our mental mind to take a nap, right? And so that we can access our intuition and our higher self easier. And so we can ask those questions. We can ask those questions about our gifts. We can ask those questions about if you're at the crossroads. Remember yesterday's card? The direction guardian. When you're at those crossroads and you have a choice of path A or path B or C or D, you have multiple paths to choose from. And so you can connect to your higher self and have that question about which path is for our highest good. And so, yeah, I think this card today is about remembering that we have all kinds of help. And when Kyle talks about what you have seen in your dreams and in a vision is not imagination, but guidance, particularly if it's been coming to you repeatedly and has the potential to become reality. And so when we have those synchronicities and those signs, and they're repeated over and over, and it's like our spiritual team is saying, "You're not getting this. We got to show it to you again. Here it is again. Here it is again." And and asking them to clarify it for you. Maybe you're not getting as much information as you'd like, and so you can go ahead and do a journey work and for yourself to ask those questions. And so your mental mind is taking a nap, and you can gather much more information. How does that resonate with you guys? We have a few tools that you can select from. Stephanie is saying my M key is sticky. You might have to clean the keyboard, huh? Yeah. Oh, and she listed the link to the Star Nations Academy closed group mini class that I did about not just drumming. Well, it's drum making. Did I talk about the shamanic journey in that one? I might have. All right. So I'm checking the time here because we got a second card, and wait till you see this one. Right? She's back. This makes what is that the third time or fourth time in a week? So definitely wanting our attention, wanting to make sure that we get the message. Peacekeeper. It says, let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need to be right. when I looked at that again this morning, because that one made me smile too, that she was back with definitely something she wants to share, make sure we get it. And, the card is, there's a lot about white buffalo calf woman in this card, and the sacred pipe, the chanupa. And that, and it's a female, a woman. And we were, even the last time we had this card, we were talking, because I think it was Rochelle was saying something about the buffalo's eye, and we had to look at the buffalo's eye. And I realized that the buffalo and the woman are looking in pretty much the same direction, heading in the same direction. And when I read the let go of the need to be right, we can take that phrase, that statement, as bringing peace to a conversation, right? Is that when we're no longer finding it important to try to prove to someone else that we're right, that when we let that go, it is, we can actually hear their point of view. Doesn't mean that you have to agree with it, but you're able to actually to listen, rather than being in your mental mind and trying to formulate your next question or your next statement, right? But when I read it again this morning, what came to me, it says, let go of the need to be right. Because of the card that we had yesterday about the direction guardian and being at a crossroads, or feeling like you don't have enough information to make a decision, right? And that any path that you choose is the right path. It just depends on the what kind of experience you want to have on that path. But when I read this part this morning, let go of the need to be right. Sometimes, and I don't know about you, but sometimes we get stuck. We start doing the rumination, if I did this, it could be right. If I did that, it could be right. And so we end up not making a decision to move forward in any direction because we're stuck in the crossroads, going over even more information, researching it again, going over it again, listing our pros and cons list again, thinking that maybe we missed something. Why? Is because we're afraid to make the decision, because what if we're wrong? What if we're wrong? And the consequences of that wrong decision, right? And as I sat with that this morning, feeling about it, thinking about it, some of that, I think, goes also toward being in control, right? As having that fear, if I let go of the control of it, the consequences that are going to come, right? And having that fear of losing control. And so when we're stuck like that, and not moving forward at all, and we're not even going backwards. We're stuck right in that middle of that crossroad. So we have a fear of whether we're losing control, a fear of being wrong, not trusting ourselves in the decision. I don't know about you, but I've at least experienced that on more than one occasion. Julie's saying, sounds interesting. I have to find the journey video. Yeah, just check it out and see how it resonates with you, how it makes you feel, right? and spinning in a circle. Yeah, at that crossroads. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. When you're spinning, it's not a comfortable place to be in. It weighs on you. You lose sleep over it. Some people do emotional eating because of it. Um, and sometimes, especially when it's a huge life decision, whether you buy that house or you sell that house, whether you quit your job to go to a different job, those big ones, Um, sometimes we get stuck. We get stuck in that spinning. It's a good way to put it, Julie. And a lot of that is all in our mental mind, right? Almost all of it is. But it affects other aspects of our life, other aspects of our bodies. We get emotional about it. Sometimes we get cranky, downright grouchy. We get impatient. We get absent-minded. We forget things because why? Because our mind is focused on something that's not even present, really. Right? It's not in our reality. All we're doing is we're thinking about it, ruminating about it. Yeah, and some people think that has attributed to some of their diseases of the body. Whether it's arthritis or heart disease or that sort of thing. That eventually that it starts to affect your physical body and your health. I think there's something to that. I do. I think there's something to that, whether it's diabetes, and looking at, the sweetness of life, right? To I'm thinking about panic disorders or those kinds of things. Yeah, I think that if we had a way to be able to help ourselves to make the decision, and I think that's where the drumming can come in, the journey work can come in, the connecting to our spiritual team in that shamanic journey, in that meditation, to be able to help make a decision. And then once we do that, we find peace. We find peace. We find peace. So sometimes being a peacekeeper isn't necessarily about an altercation, a verbal altercation with another two-legged. It is that, but it's also can be about finding that inner peace and making those decisions, those choices, right? Healing work. I think I shared with you a story about a drum. It was one of those dreams that are kind of, I wasn't quite asleep and I wasn't quite awake. It was in between. And this was several years ago. I want to say, we moved in 96. It had to have been 99 maybe. No, it had to have been around early 2000s. Because I had my first hand drum by the time I had this dream. I had a dream that someone, spirit, was handing me a drum. It was a hand drum. Was handing me this hand drum. And it was, maybe 15 or 20-inch hand drum. And it was very ornate. The drum head was very ornate. It had a lot of color and design on it. And I remember looking at it as I was reaching for it and realizing that, that's something I probably wouldn't do. I wouldn't decorate the head of my hand drum this ornately. It was pretty, but it was just, to me, it was a lot, right? And then I realized that there was one really big gash in the drum head and two smaller gashes, cuts. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, oh my gosh, That drum is ruined. It's ruined. Um, and then I thought, well, maybe it's my drum. If it's being handed to me, it's my drum, and this drum is ruined. What am I supposed to do with this, right? And I thought about it for days, and so I went to a friend of mine, Carol Daly, and she does tarot cards as well, and so um, yeah, she did a card layout for me, and she was asking me about a drum. God. All right. So I told her about the dream, and we were talking about it. And as it turned out, that drum, that ornate drum was me, and that I had one very large item that I needed to heal, and then two smaller important ones. But the big one, the big gash in the drum, I needed to heal, and that had to do with my heart. And so I did do a journey on it and found that the healing part that I had to work on was about my grandfather, my Misha. That when he walked on, I felt abandoned. I felt, now what am I supposed to do? He was my main teacher. He was somebody that I could talk to with just about anything. And now that he's gone, now what happens? And then, being able to sense and see the past life connections that we had. And so I was supposed to take my drum and drum for myself to heal it. And I did. I drummed for myself. And the next time I saw that ornate drum, the drum head was whole. And even the two smaller gashes weren't there either. But that elapsed over time. It didn't happen all at once. It probably took me a good 6 months from the time I had the dream, did the card reading, did my own journey work, and then did the healing work on it. A good 6 months or more. Yeah, so I'm sharing that with you because we have these spiritual tools. We have our spiritual allies, and the drum to me is an ally. And so when we have these two cards brought together today, the drum and the Peacekeeper, I think that this is more about our own inner work. It's about our soul work, about that heartbeat, right? And that heartbeat that connects us, all of us, to both Grandmother Earth and also to the universal heartbeat. And that we are our own peacekeeper. That we can do helping ourselves to make those kind of decisions. Our own peacekeeper. That isn't necessarily about letting go of the need to be right with someone else, but also with ourselves. That's what I got out of it. And I don't know how it resonates with you guys, but that's what I got out of it today. Andrea's saying if let's see if I'll go up there. Good, yay. Andrea's saying if somebody doesn't understand you and you wish they did, would that be the same as wanting to be right? It could be. It could be because you're trying to change their mind. If it were purely by the heart, it wouldn't make that much difference. Because you would, no matter what, you would still feel the same way about them, regardless of what they had. And so it wouldn't really have a very deep meaning to it. It could be. It could be. Wanting to be right. Because the wanting to be right really has more to do with your ego and your mental mind than your heart. Because when we can't let it go, when we can't let it go, um, it's almost like we get obsessed with it, you know, the need to prove, the need to, if I just give them one more piece of information, it could change everything, you know. And sometimes really all we have to do is just be ourselves. And, you know, we can't, it's not up to us to have everybody like us. Those people who enjoy being around us and accept us for how we are, you know, without changing us. That's true friendship. That is when you really care about somebody. And so, you know, gravitate to those people. And it takes a lot of energy to try to change somebody else's mind or heart, for that matter. Let's see. All right. So she's going on to say, Andrea saying that I think it's just wanting to be understood. So what's really underneath that, though? Why is it so important to be understood? There's more underneath that. Yeah. Sometimes wanting to be understood is maybe does it have something to do with respect? Being heard, being seen, being acknowledged. Yeah. I mean, to identify what really is going on underneath that need to be understood is the key. Is the key. So once you're honest with yourself about that piece, then you can move forward and if it is to help them see you differently or understand you better, and if it's coming from your heart, then it's going to be it will be almost effortless. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Andrew's saying, yes, I see how it's an ego thing. It could be. It really could be. And Judy, hi Judy. She says, yes, we do, but you have to listen with a clear mind first. Yeah. That's about for me anyway. That's about having your ego, the ego part of you, which we still need. It just needs to be in balance. Is moving that to the side a bit. You're not getting rid of it. It's just you're asking that part of you is to step aside and to shush. I want to hear what they have to say before we make an opinion, right? Yeah. And I think, Jude, I think you're right with that because some of that has to do with some self-discipline as well, you know? Yeah. Thank you, Stephanie, for listing the upcoming shows, extreme shows. And Judy is also saying, if what we were taught and to learn that there's many ways to have the same outcome, where it from here, where I don't understand. Where from here to there to here. Well, you are. I do understand the piece about there are many ways to get from where you are now to where you want to go. There are many paths between here and there that you can choose to take. And it's really what it boils down to is what kind of experiences do you want to have? There's some people who like to take the country road, right? And they like to take their time and to have that experience, right? And there's others who like to take the interstate and to be able to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Yeah. So I think it depends. It depends. Well, you know what? We're at the top of the hour. Can you believe that? It goes by so quickly. It goes by so quickly. So with these two cards, really, it feels to me that we're being asked to take a look at bringing peace, our inner peace, our inner peace. Kyle says that there's much more power in choosing to move forward from a higher perspective. From a higher perspective. So if we're caught in the indecision, as Julie put it, the spinning is to have the spinning stop. Stop. So that you can actually see, sense, or feel the information that's coming through your intuition. Because when we're spinning, chances are you're not feeling the intuition. That's for sure. So these are their two cards, Drum and Peacekeeper. George is dreaming and he's wagging his tail in his dream. He's a happy boy. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Stephanie. She listed the upcoming shows this week for Star Nations, from Star to Stone, Chakra Sessions, my show from Communications from Home, all on Tuesday. She has those listed so well that you guys can kind of read if any of those shows interest you. And then there's Wednesday night, which is Soul Connections with Polly Jola Bay. And if you're interested in having a healing meditation, help you work on those aspects that you want to heal or release. And then the second half of that show is all about card draws. So if you enjoy that, join us, right? Okay. So enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your Monday. Embrace what resonated with you today in the card draw information and the spiritual conversation we had, and see how your day unfolds with it, right? And if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. It wasn't for you. And so enjoy it. Enjoy Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern for the daily live stream. Okay? All right. Bama Mina. That's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.